Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our Mavs recap, our Married at First Sight season 13, episode 7, I think it is, recap. Let's just get going. Hey, Misha, how are you doing? I love the hair.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, this was I almost am glad that we're doing. I think I'm glad that we're doing this so fresh because there was so much to unpack.
Mhm.
We're doing this the next day. That we're doing this on Thursday. So, who do you want to start with?
Ooh, okay, let's do Rachel and Jose
Okay. Okay.
because they're fresh on my mind. I did not like Jose's attitude towards Rachel's place. Like, as we know, Jose's already insecure, and he was so, I don't know if she's gonna be attracted to me. I don't know, this and that. So to walk, I felt like he had expectations for her to walk into his place and be like, wow, this is so nice, blah, blah, blah. But then when you walk into her house, it's like this nitpicking attitude. Well, I guess it's not that bad. And I was just like, ew, like I didn't like it. Then I want to touch on the whole they consummated their marriage. I don't believe that. You just said 2 days ago in Florida that she's not checking, she needs to check all of your boxes. So in 48 hours, she checked all your boxes. And not only that, in 48 hours, all of a sudden, this PDA and over affectionateness stops. Like this episode, it was turned down quite a bit compared to the other episodes. So that kind of was weird to me because how do you consummate your marriage and then the PDA stops? And then on top of that, there there was the whole when Rachel was like, "Oh, it scares me because that can blur judgment." She was speaking of it as if the sex hadn't happened yet, and that was one of her fears of having sex. So it was just weird. I don't know. I feel like something weird is going on with that whole department of intimacy with them. But yeah.
Okay. I'll take the house first. Uh,
Okay.
I think that because that was a lot, and I have comments on all of that. But the when he walked into the house, the funny thing is the parents, her parents and her friends, really blew her up and really messed up. Really threw her under the bus with how she lives, and she's messy, and really talked about her so bad. So I almost think that it was so on his radar, he was looking for things to not to like. So he was. So I think that, and I also think that that's what they go when they go in there. The producers might tell them, "Well, see what you can make comments on," or something like that. But yeah, I think that, to me, those bottles of water, if especially if you, I'm not going to go down and get rid of them every time. I'm probably going to, get rid of 5 at a time. I'm not going to, go down every time I empty one bottle.
And
No.
why did he offer? If you're the husband, you want to provide, lead, protect. Why was your
Yeah.
first thing to point it out and not actually help?
So in his talking head, I know that the producer asked him, you have to answer it like a question. So the producers probably asked him, "What did you think of all those bottles of water?" And he said, "I would have gotten rid of them." But to me, I think that was silly. And her traveling, I think that is like, um, I think that she truly loves it. Like everybody collects something, like refrigerator magnets. I have refrigerator magnets from where I travel to, or like a sweatshirt that says wherever I'm at. So everybody does that. She's got pencils. That's not that bad. Like pencils, you can throw up in a shoebox and never see it again. Like and you'll have them. That's a cute thing to me. So I think that him making a an issue. Oh, what are we going to do with all these pencils? Nothing. They're a cute thing from where you traveled from. Like she could have like vases, or people got shot glasses, a cabinet full of shot glasses. It's a pencil. Relax.
And they
So
were organized. They were in their own little holsters. And they weren't taking up that much
they weren't.
space to
That's true.
say you need to get rid of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that and I know that the producers asked them, what did you think about that stuff? But to me, it was um, it was something he could nitpick about. And I also think that his family and parents, like and the producers really, they be messing them up because they really did, like with her makeup. And you be the makeup artist, I'm sure you got just all kinds of makeup around. They
Mhm.
went and put the camera right and scanned all the
But
lipsticks. And
I think women can relate. I
no,
can
I
relate.
agree.
It
No,
is hard to keep any makeup or hair area clean and tidy.
no, I
So,
agree with you. But the fact that they just were doing her dirty, they were doing her
mhm.
dirty, and I think that I agree with you that he was, making a big issue out of it, but I think that they were doing her real dirty. I want to get to his place in a minute, and I'm glad Tia Marie is in here because Tia, I watched the show over again, and I got more to say because yeah, about some other people. But now let's go to the sex. You said you don't believe them that they consummated.
I don't. I
Okay.
don't. I didn't believe it. I think like I said, their PDA decreased dramatically because they were overdoing it to the
That's
max. And
but
then it just kind of died down. And their body language, when they said Jose's body language was very awkward when I think it was Rachel who said yes first, and then he kind of was like, yeah, he just looked awkward. Like they both looked awkward. Maybe it's awkward having to say in out loud that you had sex, but it just seems, I don't know.
I believe them, and I think that they probably. So I think that the timeline. So
So
you know how
one thing. So you think that Rachel checked off her boxes, all Jose's boxes that quick?
no, no, I don't think that he's checked off all her boxes. We know by this episode that he hasn't checked off all her boxes because her priorities are mixed up. She's got a raggedy car, but she still wants to go to Switzerland. She's still not checking off all his boxes. But as he said in his talking head a couple weeks ago, I'm still a man. If I want, if so and I am still. What I'm doing is I'm investigating this because, like Ryan, and I said this last night, that if they talked about it the whole that they made that a thing the whole season with Ryan and Clara, but this
Mhm.
time it was just once. I said, I wonder if they keep bringing this up. If they don't keep bringing it up, then I think that they did. I think they did probably consummate, but I think that the timelines that they're showing their clips of them with them being in the bed, it wasn't 48 hours. I think that they probably had the sex, but she said, we got to see if we're sexually compatible. They may not have been the best. And so that conversation may have happened after the sex. And then we get to Pastor Cal. And sometimes PDA does come, like you're going hot and heavy until you do have sex. And then you're like, okay, now that that's over, now that the passion has risen, and now you're not as touchy feely because all those things that you were making you touchy feely is subsided. So I'm not objecting. I'm not following your train of thought just yet on that. I'm gonna believe
I
them for
just think
now.
something's off with them. I
Oh,
not off with them as a couple, but in that department, there's something going on there that I think is weird. They might
Mhm.
have, and it might have been terrible. I don't know, but it's something's off about that to me.
So, and it's so funny because Tia was on me last night, and see, that's why she like tunes in because she's like, "No, Misha, I think you're right." So, and I love it because she wasn't saying that last night, but you do have. I'm not saying you don't have a point, but I'm not believing it just yet. If they said that they consummated, they consummated. Um, I do think that they still need to investigate if they're sexually compatible. That's what I think. Like just because they consummated doesn't mean that it was great. Is we, so that's what I think.
And another, like, I want to add, like Rachel said, sex clouds your judgment. And
True.
that boy went in her apartment judging right away. So
Well,
clearly,
true.
there's
So
not
sex clouds your
that.
judgment, and that's what's the issue with Michaela and Zach. Like you're in, so
Mhm.
you go hot, and that is true and that's what Merla is saying. The reason why she's not having sex because sex clouds your judgment. She doesn't want to jump too fast. So that is true. You can, but we know that she's lying. But we'll get into that later. But that's true. As a woman, you don't want to jump too fast and then worry that
Mhm.
he's not into you or something happens and they get divorced. So I think that she probably
But
did do
I'm
it. It's just that she needs to like do it a couple more times or not do it or
Yeah, I'm
prepare.
saying that if someone is the thing is thinking right, and then I don't understand Jose's coming into her apartment being so nitpicky. It seems like that would be turned down if you were really satisfied in that area,
No, I don't.
or I don't know, I
I
feel like there would
disagree.
be kind of a high from it as far as like, okay, we connected on this area too. I'm all in, but it's he just came in there nitpicking, and yeah. I
One,
think that's
he's a
part of it.
nitpicker
I could be
anyway.
wrong, but I think that's part
He,
of the nitpicking.
okay, I think he's a nitpicker anyway, and I think that
Yeah.
in every couple, they go in and they investigate or they nitpick each. Let me see how you live. Let me look at the laundry room. And I think that that's what the producers asked them to do. One,
Mhm.
two. I don't think they had sex the last night. I don't think it was the last night. I think it was after the teeth brushing thing and before
So on the
after
honeymoon?
I think they had sex on the honeymoon. I don't think
Okay.
it was. I don't think it was the last night. I don't think it was the night that we were all talking about last week. We got to see if we're sexually compatible. I think something happened earlier, but uh, things weren't. It wasn't that amazing. I think something else happened. I think that she's like, we got to see if we can do this a couple more times. I need to, you
Mhm.
know, so because you're going out in heavy, it's not great the first time, and so she's like,
Yeah.
all right, let me see if we're sexually compatible. I think that's what happened. Um, because the pregnant pauses, because I just I know that they take these pregnant pauses. The camera's taking these pregnant pauses, and then they're looking at each other. And he's like, "Let me wait till she answers, because her being the woman, if she doesn't want to answer, then we won't." So he's waiting for her. Then they're like, "Yes, we did." I think that they had sex. I don't disagree just yet. Um, yeah, they didn't have it. I don't think it was the last night. I don't think it was when they were talking about the Switzerland and all of that stuff. I
Mm.
think it was before that. I think like when they were asking them, when they were sitting on the beach. So let's talk about going to visit Jose's house. What did you think of that?
Mhm. His house was nice. He has a nice house. I will give him that. But you see, I saw his ego just blasting like, okay, let me tell you about this chair. Let me tell you about this couch. Okay, let's go over here. Yeah, it was almost like this tour. Like he was a tour guide, like for Universal Studios or something. Like it's kind I saw his ego and the kind of boastfulness of just let me brag about myself, let me brag, brag, brag. And I know you're gonna fall for this. I know you're gonna like this because I like it. And it was, yeah. I it's a nice house, but you should have came to Rachel's house with that same energy, meaning on a positive note and kind of wanting to get to know her more, know more. Because your stuff means stuff to you. Some of your stuff has these sentimental values. Why didn't you have that same energy at Rachel's place when obviously the pencil collecting is her thing? That's what she likes to do. So why is your stuff so sentimental, but you get to hers and it's clutter? It's you're hoarding and so forth.
I think her house had character too. I like the fact that her house just had character, like the pencils, like the globe. I thought that was actually really cool because I love globes, and the fact that you can open it and put a name on something and then pick it. I thought that was like that's a cute idea. I'm gonna have to adopt that. But going back to his one thing I was saying last night to Tia that shout out to this production because he said, "Oh yeah, let me pack up some stuff and take a look at the board right there," and the music and the camera goes in on her face and and they're looking at the board of his finances. I was like, wow, you guys really did it up for this. I think that that is intimidating, and his house was very masculine, and I get that he's worked hard to get to a certain place, but he has made up the house for him. And she's going to have to go in there if they do say yes at decision day, excuse me, and bring some character, bring a lot of herself into it.
Mhm.
Um, but the board, and she's like, and he's like, oh yeah, you have something like this, don't you? She said, I have nothing like this. I have a calendar. Like, I have a calendar and I don't have anything like this. And he said, well, what's so interesting, and we've talked about this before, his condescending way he said it, though, Tia, I will agree with you on this, though. He said, well, eventually you're going to you got to get to somewhere like this. You got to get to a place where it looks like this. I was like, okay, now I'm here.
It was definitely giving Eric and Virginia vibes.
Yes, yes. Yes, it was. I was like, oh gosh, now, Johnny, you can't even. He doesn't even hear himself though, and he definitely sounded like her father. Speaking of Eric and Virginia vibes, he sounded like her father when he said that. He said, "Well, you got to get to a place like this and stuff." So that was a trip. I do like his house. I do think it is, it's a nice house, but it's very masculine, and she's gonna have to go in there and just like make it her own if that's what she wants to do. Um, yeah, the board was a trip. What else? I just think that's gonna be a very interesting interesting. That morning, their first morning in the place. So Tia said Jose was being self-absorbed. Also, why is he showing the whole world his income? He is overcompensating for. Yes, I do think Reese
Do
said
you
that.
really think he was saving 7,200 or he knew them cameras was coming and
Oh,
1,200 went to 7,200?
also, on somewhere looked like did he have the credit score on the bottom? Like he was like credit cards 0. I was
I
like,
couldn't do it. I
you
couldn't do
knew
it.
you
I
knew
could
your cameras
not
were
do
coming.
it.
I
She's
was
better than me.
I said, you are. I said, come on, Jose, come on. So I think that's he's standing on his wallet, and he. I was watching Kev on stage. Because they do a review of it too, and they're like he jacks off the credit scores. Like nothing. He doesn't look at Pornhub. He look at their FICO
He
scores, and that's where he
he
gets.
should have been with Merla. They were definitely, they both are showy. and have this ego, he should have been put with Merlin.
So Amaya has a point. Okay, Misha, and I think if she fixes that car, then she can have a trip. I see the problem. I do.
No,
I agree with that.
I
I'll get to
don't.
that in a
I
second.
don't agree with the credit card thing.
No, the
Having
car.
to take out the credit card to pay for a trip. So if the car is fixed and you have your own money saved to go on the trip, okay, but you should not be planning to apply for a credit card so you can use that for the trip.
Right. You shouldn't. And he was like, okay, well, but and the weird thing is when they did the replay, the flashback, she was like, so you're ready to go to Europe with me next month? And like, and he said, well, let's pull back. Your car is on its looks like it's on its last legs. And she's like, my car can wait another year. But what if it can't? What if it can't? You don't know. Apparently, she lives far away from her job. Lives like at least 40 minutes or something from her job. So she can't be
Mhm.
just doing that and going on a trip and being like, "Oh, you can do that in 6 months or a year." You know,
Mhm.
Switzerland is going to be there.
Right.
If you're stranded on the side of the road and something else happened to you, that's an emergency. What
Mhm.
something else could happen. So I thought that was funny. The way and I get that, yes, she's excited about it. But let's go to the conversation with Pastor Cal. What did you think of Pastor Cal's advice to them?
Refresh my memory. I don't really remember
Well, Pastor Cal
his
said
advice.
that she's the art and he's the finance, or she's the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I think he had that down pat.
I think I liked his analogy, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think and then he needs to relax and just have fun with his wife and get to know his wife. Absolutely. And she needs to not worry about, oh, well, he's judging me for finances. True. But at the same time, she needs to shift her priorities. Like, get a credit card to go for and pay for a $3,000 trip. Fix your car and do some other things first. Be a little bit more practical. They have to balance each other out, and they just have to
W-
listen to each other.
One thing I want to add, Monique King and Kimberly Reviews added if he has 7,200 that he's saving
I know what you're running.
and
Go
he's
ahead.
such a saver and budgeter, why can't he just take her on the trip then if that's what she really wants to do? I think that's a great point because you want her to trust you. You want to step in as this provider, leader, protector, but you know that there's something she wants to do and you don't want to provide, protect, or lead her in that. You just want to do it your way and have her wait when, according to his little whiteboard, he got the means to do it.
I actually thought you were going to say, why doesn't he just buy her new car and not worry about it? But
That too, both
okay,
points,
so to
both,
my
I'll say both sides.
okay, so I think the reason is she talks too much and she's been oversharing too much. In his head, he's like, okay, yeah, but then after the trip, she's still spending money like water. How are we going to build a life on that? So he's like, absolutely. And yeah, if he pays for a car or pays her does pay, puts half on a car and she pays the other half or whatever, because he apparently from his board he can buy a car outright with no problem. But at the same time, he's like, let's, like priorities and things like that. And he's like, and this does sound patronly, like a father, but he's like, how is she going to not learn the lesson, but how is she going to be in the future if I just, pay for this trip on somebody I just met? You understand what I'm saying? He's
But
still, even though they've had sex, even though he
he's
loves.
he's expecting her to put her money into his account and she's supposed to trust him with that, but he is not
No,
giving
he's
the
saying
same.
he'd help her with it. And I do think that again, I do think he's being too overbearing. This I'll help you with it because that really means I'll put some shackles on you, and this is where you're going to be in a year and a half, 2 years. At the same time, I think in his head he's like, this is too much. Like she's how are we going to get to the next level if all I'm doing is going to Switzerland and going this way and go that way. But I do think Pastor Cal saying, have a good time with your wife. Just relax, have a good time. She's supposed to show you the
Yeah.
fun side. So they may do that. They may go on a trip. It may not be Switzerland, but they probably, if she has her way, she gonna get this man on a flight somewhere. So it may happen that way.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Kimberly was saying she can cut back in 6 months and have enough saved for a trip, but to say 1 to 2 years is a bit much. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she can cut back in 6 months if she's making good money and he's making good money because apparently from this board, he's making excellent money. Then in 6 months after they know each other a little bit better, because right now they're
But
just
why
going.
you're saying if they know each other a little better, but why is he putting this expectation on her to have a joint account with him? If they're so-called strangers and the trip thing is too much to expect from him, then it's too much for him to expect her to have a joint account with him.
Now, I do agree. That's why she keeps saying we're going to have to talk about that. I don't think that that's an easy expectation, especially even after 2 months of knowing somebody, the span of this show. I think that is, I don't think, because that's why she keeps saying we'll keep talking about that. And I agree with, I think Misha said, Tia said this. Um, Jose, she probably does. She might drive a Nissan Sentra or something. He wants her in a nicer car. I believe that too. I believe that too. I think that I said she's probably in to him. She's like my car's fine, and um, yeah, to
Hmm.
her, her car is probably just fine. And he wants her in that Tesla. That Tesla that Johnny was driving was very nice. I would want it in black, but otherwise, yeah.
Child.
So I think Jose needs to pull back and relax, and she needs to be her priorities are still up in the air. She wants to go next month. So yeah,
Hmm.
and him, I wonder this too, Kimberly. He must not like to travel. That's what I wonder too, because I go on vacation getaways monthly. I'm also a financial coach and complete my budget faithfully. So when they were talking about this, I was like, I wonder if he likes to travel at all.
Because he only mentioned the states. We can
Yeah.
go to the states, but not. And even like I said before, some international trips are cheaper than traveling within the US. And it's like he probably won't doesn't even know that because he doesn't like to travel there.
I got that
So
impression that he doesn't travel at all. Like and I'm actually surprised that Brett gives me that impression too, that she doesn't travel at all. Like I was like,
well, yeah, for
yeah,
obvious reasons, because she don't like getting on planes.
yeah, that's a good point.
But
Yeah.
no, Rachel gave me the impression she don't travel either because she was so impressed with that retirement retreat, talking about she in a honeymoon suite and she was living her life. She really thought she was somewhere nice.
So I think, like you said, that he needs to. But why can't he just take her on a trip? Um, he wants to make sure her priorities are in order before he just pays for whatever. I think that's what wants to see.
Hmm.
Priorities are important to him. Let's see if we can get the car first, and then. And I was like, her car is not a good car, and she works like almost an hour away. I thought that was kind of strange, and I thought, you know what? She probably doesn't drive as nice of a car that he wants her to drive, because he is very
Mm.
showy, you know, he's very showy. Yeah, I don't think that he has the passion for travel that Rachel does. Yeah, not a good match. You're right. Okay, who do you want to go to next? I think that's it.
Let's do Ryan and Brett because when I saw Ryan and Brett and them dogs, it reminded me of Ryan and Clara. You know, Ryan liked that dog more than he liked Clara, and I think that's why they stayed together so long was because of that dog. And it's like you saw like this episode was the first smile I saw from Ryan.
He
And
loved that dog.
and I was like, oh my goodness, here we go again, falling for the dog and not the person.
And the dog was a smaller version of his dog. I was like,
It really was. They look like siblings or something. Like it looked like it could be mother and daughter or something like that.
and he said, okay, let's go back a little bit. He said, we're off the plane, we're back in Houston, and I'm less bruised than last time, than last flight. So I said, maybe she was like beating him up or like pinching him or something
Like
like that.
squeezing him or
Yeah, squeezing him and stuff like that. Because we've been trying to find out, like, you're not a nervous flyer. What's the big deal? Um, yeah. So Misha said the same thing that 100% I said last night that Ryan is going to run away from Baxter. I, but he just loved, he was like, oh my gosh, he has a lot of energy for an 11-year-old dog. And um, I just felt like he's got apparently, what's her name? Brett. I think that she has a lot more hangups than we're seeing. And I wonder if, because I'm like, did she panic? Was it that bad? You know, of course,
I
I think
was trying to pick up like, is he joking? But his face was so serious, and then she was laughing like, haha, stop. But I'm like, okay, was I didn't like I was trying to figure out, is he joking? Is he exaggerating? Because he had a straight face, kind of like how Jacob would do. Nobody would know he was joking. So I'm like, is I don't know. I don't know what is going on with
I think so. Well, because yes, he has a very dry sense of humor, but he's
this.
also just does not smile. And I know that they have this like this banter back and forth, but I'm like, you don't smile. Like I said, there's all kinds of stuff going on behind your eyes. We're just not seeing it or hearing it. Um, but I think her worry or her like just over stressing to him is like no big deal and she needs to just relax, and I think that he's more, maybe just a quiet guy and she's more, you know, outspoken, and he's like, I just don't even want to worry about it, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, Tia said that he's low key insulting her all the time. Not nice at all. So when you say he's low key insulting her, um, like I did pick up with the dog. Uh, so she said, "Well, where are we going to put the deer head?" Which I was like, "It's just one deer head." You know, we already said he hunts once a year. Where are we going to put that? Are you? No, she said, "Are you really
I
attached
would
to that?"
not want that in my bedroom. I
Yeah.
would not want to be looking up and seeing that, whether I'm asleep or doing other activities. I don't want to see that when I
And he
open
said,
my
I'll put it in the
eyes.
garage. But he said, I'll put it in the garage, the same place we're putting Baxter when he gets on my nerves or something like that. Like he has said that he kind of
Oh
says
my
these little
goodness.
things. He says these little jabs. But and she's like, huh, you know, but I agree. I was like, put it in the basement. No big deal. Like, so I wonder if she is like she was really worried. She was really, and I get that you're worried about the dogs not getting along or her dog being a little dog and his dog being big.
Because they
And
was trying to scrap in the streets. They
oh,
was
her dog would have been a snack to his dog if it was a real thing, or to Michaela's dog. That dog would have been like, oh, to any of those other dogs. But I know that she worries like on the canoe. It's like a constant thing. So I wonder if on camera we're thinking it's not that bad because we're not seeing the whole thing, but maybe she's really going in. So I do think that whole dog thing was funny. I think that just like we've been saying, just like Tia says, he is not into her. Like he has an issue. Like she's like, I got a crush on you. And so y'all been talking this whole time, and you haven't said how much you like each other. You haven't like said any of that. And he's like, I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet. And this poor guy, yeah. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
No, we we all could see it. And the fact that what is her name? Brett was like, I have a crush on him and I haven't said like I was like, what are you crushing on? I was confused on that part because she's been kind of asking these questions to him to like get a deeper connection, and he's he's surface level. I don't think he really has any depth to him. So I really don't get what she's crushing on, or where, like, I don't get the connection that she's holding on to. I don't see it or get it.
Monique King, we need some context to your chat because you said Brett and Ryan definitely have the best chance of making it. They genuinely like each other and get along well. I need some examples because again, I just think that he's got an orchestra going on behind that head. In that head of his, he's not saying it. We can't tell. He has the best poker face. He needs to be a millionaire on the poker circuit because I can't tell. Um, yeah, and I think that she's so nervous about like she's just all every little thing that that I'm just not seeing it. Um, I think the dogs were cute. I really liked his house. I thought his house was really nice. And I just liked his house. I was like, that's
When
nice.
Brett said he has 12 shades of brown,
It's masculine, but all the guys look like they have a masculine house. Like so did Jose. I was like, that is a lot of brown. I said she's gonna have to go in there and put her character in there because oof. And Johnny was, Johnny is a minimalist, and so yeah, it was 12 Shades of Brown. Um, yeah, I did like it. I did like his house. I liked her house too. It showed character. It looked like Brett. It definitely looked like Brett, So I did like her house too. Um,
Mhm.
did he criticize her house at all? I don't think that he really.
I don't even remember. I vaguely remember their scenes
Their scenes,
because
yeah, just
there's
the
not
scene with
much
Pastor
going on
Powell.
there.
Again, there's all kinds of stuff going on behind his head. We just don't know what it is. So yeah, that deer head really freaked her out. She loves animals though. I was like, just put it in the basement though. Mm. Yeah, Maria was like, it needs to be camouflaged. She just hated it. Yeah, I guess to me, I was like, just put it in the basement. Like, as long as you don't bring them home, or we got to compromise about this hunting. Like, we got to have a conversation. He really wants to get her out to the country, and she is such a city girl. I
Even
can't
if
wait.
she goes out there, don't nobody want to be looking at no deer head in their bedroom.
She gonna have to stay at the house. She gonna have to just milk the cows.
Like, how you supposed to get in the mood with that? You staring
You're
at a deer
not.
head. That is so
You're not.
nasty.
No, you're not. That's why it's going in the garage, like he said.
Imagine all the women he's had in that bedroom and they just fine with a deer head.
So uh, Queen won't quit. She said, "I thought they had no okay. I thought they had no chemistry. I thought you were saying they had chemistry. Then they spontaneously kiss, and I'm like, maybe they're being edited wrong. I I don't know. I don't know. There's no really way you can edit Ryan. Just he's
Yeah.
all
And
pregnant
I would
pause.
say the kisses seem timed, like this is when we're supposed to kiss. It doesn't there's no passion or chemistry behind the kisses. I feel like it's like a okay, 12 o'clock,
It's
time
kiss
to kiss
now.
again. So yeah, it doesn't the kisses don't really prove any chemistry to me.
Yeah, I don't think the kisses prove anything. Um, and maybe he does like her, or I think he thinks she's pretty. but she's not his kind of pretty. I think that but that doesn't mean that he wants to stay married to her. That's it. Yep. Go ahead.
Hmm.
You want to go to
Oh,
next?
you're good.
Yeah. So I think that's it. We're gonna have to see for them. We're gonna have to see for them. I don't
Who
know if they're
is
gonna.
next?
Yeah, I don't know that they're gonna consummate. Mm-mm.
Let's do Gil and Merla. Let's get into Gil and Merla. I did not like how Gil was trying to clock her finances, her spending, like how much you spent on this shoe, how much you spent on that, how many times did you, boy, mind your business. This is not it, this is not your lane.
This is his
Like, and then
business
the
though. Now
whole
that
when
they're
he
married, this
did
is
the whole
sorry.
must be nice, like, boy, you want her to buy you some shoes? Like, what are you getting at? Like, I didn't like that scene. It gave me broke dude vibes. I have been with broke dudes before, and it was it was following, it was it was triggering me, okay? That's what I'll say. It was triggering me because that has been done to me before. Like, oh, I bet you spend this much, or I bet, and it's like they're trying to clock, like, what are you clocking my money for? Like, it's not your money, you're not getting any of my money. So why are you, what are you getting at right now?
I think this is his business because they're married. But to her, they're still strangers. One, I think that closet was more than 70,000. Two, I do think that this is who she is, and he wants to spend it on, as he said, real estate and something that's going to be a legacy and have longevity. And these are on, and this all shoes and purses. It's so funny because I think Sean said this, and I was watching again. I was watching Kev's show today, and they were saying they thought that her house would be just look like Jose's, or
Yeah, I'll
look
agree with
like
that.
yeah,
Hmm.
or look like Ryan's, and all her wealth was in her closet. So, and especially in Houston, I kind of thought, huh, it's all in Houston. I mean, it's all in her closet, and I did think that they had a point there. That if she is spending it all on shoes, purses, and clothes, where's her, the house to go along with it? So, and it's interesting because I was watching Unfiltered. I saw a little piece of it. I didn't see all of it,
Hmm.
but Gil said that he does have some Burberry stuff. He says he has some, but he doesn't do it like 3 and 4 times a year. He has a little bit, but he doesn't, do it in excess like that.
Right.
And it's so
And he
interesting.
shouldn't.
And Tia is in the chat because I watched this again this morning because I said he does give her these jabs, right? And he's like, he said, "My wife is a princess," and it's almost like he's justifying it to himself. This is the person I married. And you know how you have to sometimes convince yourself, or you have to talk yourself into something. It's almost like he's saying it, but it's not like it's weird the way he just keeps saying, "I know, okay, princess." And yet I was like, my wife is a princess. I got to remember that. I think that he's a
Yeah.
romantic one. I think he's a romantic because even though she has said, "I don't want you
No.
I don't, Nisha, he said, "I don't, no, Merla, I don't want you to walk me across the threshold or pick me up. It's corny. I don't like it." He still wants to do it. He likes doing little things, but it's hard to get to know her when all he's seen in that week is the complaining and the nitpicking and all the little things. I do think that he wants to show who he is, but it's going to be hard for her to see it. I'm sorry, I do. I said watching this again and calling her a princess constantly. It's almost like, are you trying to justify who your wife is? Are you trying to get used to
No,
it almost?
he is going at her passive aggressively. Like I said before, he's very passive aggressive. The whole princess comment is like, oh, since you need this pampering, you need all these things that I don't need. And it's kind of like I'm more humble than you, and I'm going to make sure everybody knows that type of thing. Even the whole toddler thing, and that's what I really think he means when he's calling her princess is, okay, you toddler, you baby, since you complain and whine. I think that's what he's getting at with the
Remind me
whole
the toddler
princess.
thing. Remind me
Hmm?
of the toddler thing.
The
The toddler
toddler
thing.
was at the pool with all the couples,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he said he just treats her like a toddler, so whatever the exact words were, but he called her a
I let
toddler
her
there.
cry and complain it out, and then I just ignore it. I remember now. Okay, the whole toddler comment.
Yeah.
I
So
he did.
I don't think I get why it's hard for Merla to open up to him because she probably senses that, she sees that. Like, if you think someone's complaining, they're high maintenance, they're whining, they're a toddler, why are you still trying to get to the physical stuff?
Because
And
he
he,
was right, but I think he also has been saying that. He said you are high maintenance. He said now we both agree, and everybody else in the chat agrees. He should not have done what he did and talked about her behind his back. He should not have done that. That was rude. That was inappropriate. That was horrible. Absolutely. But I do think that it is going to be hard for them to get for her to open up and get to know each other. Um, and I do think that Gil has been trying, but it's almost like because and she said, I don't even know how much I spend on shoes and stuff. And she goes 3 or 4 times a year. And somebody in the chat said that not everybody wants to be in a big house. Looking at her pictures, I think she's kind of self. Now, this is very interesting. She has traveled beautiful pictures of Italy, just her. There was a like I saw just her in the frame, and I think that that's what he was trying to say. That okay, you have pictures of yourself when you travel. You know, where are your pictures of your friends? I saw one picture of her with a little girl. And that was sweet. And I think she likes kids because she's very endearing and like to remember the pictures at the wedding. But there were no pictures of her with her friends. There were no pictures when she's traveling with her with anybody else. And it's almost like he's saying you're self-absorbed. Like he'll say you're high maintenance. He has said these things to her, but then he's also trying to but then it is a little passive aggressive, but I think that he also has been a, he's been honest as well. I think that he has
I,
said no, not
I'm
think
be
he said that. He said you're high maintenance. He said you're a lot. He said you uh yeah, he said you're very particular. You complain a lot. He has said those things. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, you're fine. But I'm gonna be on my Kia Simone. Let's go here.
Yes. Go ahead.
Let's go to the fact that she has told this man over and over she doesn't like dogs. And so when she goes into the apartment, here, he's like forcing her to pet the dog. And she said she doesn't like dogs. Like, that's the type of things I'm getting at with him. Like, the
Yeah.
man is supposed to provide, protect. He's
He did
can't
not.
even really protect her. The fact that he's trying to force this dog on her, he wants to fire the dog walker so that she can walk the dog. Even with the whole plane thing on the honeymoon, she told you she gets motion sickness. She doesn't like being on planes. And you go, here's your surprise. I surprised you with the plane ride. Do you want to do it? Yes or no? She told you she don't like that. So that's what's making me think Gil's has his motives are off.
Okay.
But yeah,
He did not ask her to pet the dog. He said, put your hand down. So to introduce yourself to the dog, he
she
said, put
was
your hand in.
against the
No,
wall like this. She didn't
no.
want to touch
He
the
said,
dog.
put
And
your
then
hand
he
so
was
that you can
literally
get
grabbing her
comfortable.
hand.
If you put your hand in and get down low, the dog would shake your hand. That's what he was trying to get them to do.
She
I
did not
know
want to touch
I
the dog.
and
She don't
she
want
didn't
nothing to do with the
understand.
dog.
I she didn't understand what to do, so she put a finger in. He said, "Put your hand like this, put it down, so the dog can shake your hand, and they can make friends with each other." He didn't ask her to pet it. He said, "Come pet it." He said, "I want to introduce you to her, to the dog Hype." And Hype is very well trained. He said something in Spanish, and Hype went and got into the dog bin. And actually, and then I saw on Unfiltered, he said, actually, I'm actually the type of, if you did have a dog owner, because he's not allowed on any furniture, he's not allowed on the bed, he's not allowed to, do this. He is very, very well trained. So he still is a dog owner. He still is a dog owner, whether she's not or he is. So he's supposed to get rid of his dog for 2 months and pay to board him. After those 2 months are up,
Mhm.
there's still going to be um if they did get along with and the dog wasn't around, he's paid for boarding, and she's not used to him. She's get used to the dog now. Put your hand down, put your hand in the dog's palm, so you can at least introduce yourself to the dog. Dogs pick up on energy. If she doesn't want to be around that dog won't want to be around her. That dog will be in his own corner. I'm telling you, dogs pick up on energy. So that dog will be in his bed and we'll leave her alone. Uh, the the boat ride, I agreed with you on people get motion sickness, but I think that she was complaining about that. But then she finally did it. She was fine. She was not motion sickness after the boat ride. She likes to complain. She likes to be particular. I do want to talk about their conversation. We'll move on and we'll talk about their conversation with Pastor Cal. I thought that was really weird. I'm saying because this whole time, you two have not been on the same page. You get in front of Pastor Cal, and it's almost like you guys are giddy and smiling at each other. I was like, that's just weird. Why are
The
you not?
whole hand gesture thing, that was like, that's kind of the first time I've seen her do that, but Gil claims that she's been coming around with that, but that was the first time I've ever seen or noticed her doing that.
I agree. I thought it was just really weird. I was like, and he's waiting for her. And I agree with him. If you don't at least kiss me, he doesn't, he's like, and he's just, or show some intimacy in 2 months, then we got to get divorced. He wants to see, to our point, somebody that you're dating and not married to, you probably would have kissed him by now if you were interested. So,
Yeah, that's very true.
but um not even a little bit of intimacy just on the cheek, and now you're hand holding. It was just that whole thing was weird. And then she's like, yes, I'd like to have sex eventually. I'm like, mm, I that
Not with him though. That's she said eventually, not with him. She she meant in general. She don't want that man.
yeah, yeah. I was like, and she's sitting there and she's curled up, and they're just the amount of affection that they showed in front of Pastor Cal was more than it seemed like they showed all week on the honeymoon. I was like, this is just weird. I was like, I just didn't understand it. Yeah. Oh, was somebody talking about a strip club in the chat?
I guess they were trying to reference because I said her money is her money as far as her spending it on designer things. If she can afford it, it's fine. Someone mentioned, well, if Gil went to the strip club, it's his money. That's not really the same thing, but
No, it's not the same
it's
thing at
not.
all.
The strip club versus buying a pair of shoes is not the same thing. And I don't think Gil has enough money to be going to the strip club. So yeah, it's not really the same thing.
He may have enough money for the strip club, but not for $5,000 worth of Prada. So there you go. So yeah, their affection in front of Pastor Cal was just so strange to me.
Yeah.
But then they really go tit for tat. They really go back and forth. And I think he is trying to be honest, but he doesn't know how to just say, listen, I don't, I'm getting fed up. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I this episode I was looking at the more he's like, well, I want to kiss. I want to do this. I want. I'm like, I just have a feeling. I don't know. I don't think Merla should sleep with her. With him. I just feel like it's gonna be trash. He just gives me Minuteman vibes. Like the
That's
fact
right.
that every episode he is bringing this up, and obviously she's not comfortable with that yet. Like even the dog, even if she doesn't like dogs, it's gonna take her time to get comfortable. That's what I'm saying with this whole
That's
thing.
why.
It's like he wants, he needs, and it's just giving. I just feel like, what are you trying to rush her for? Because it's probably gonna be trash anyway. Like,
But that's why you try though. Like you try, you jumped in and married somebody at first sight. That is a risk, right? That is something that
right,
you have to try it to see. So you're gonna have to kiss the man and let him put his tongue in your mouth to see if it's gonna be trash or not. She won't even let him do that. So you won't even let him do that. And to me, she's like, I gotta get comfortable. I gotta get comfortable. So just like I said, the sex with Jose and Rachel, it probably wasn't the best the first time. So she's like, okay, let me try this again because I'm not sure that was what it was supposed to be. So I think that he's like, well, you're going to have to do these things to see how they're going to be. And she just wants them to be strangers for 2 months. So yeah, and that's it. She doesn't even want to. Um, she doesn't even want to compromise. She doesn't want to give in a little bit. She doesn't want to give in a little bit. And even Pastor Cal even said, now that you guys are together, I actually thought that it was strange that he took this stance so quick about the finances. Pastor Cal said, now that you guys got to think about like house and other things. And I think with the dog, I not think, I know. He said, put your hand down. He'll put his palm in your hand so you can get comfortable. She's gonna have to get comfortable eventually. So get comfortable now. You're gonna ship the dog away for 2 months while my wife is here. She might as well he's had the dog since he was a baby, since he was 6 weeks old. He's not getting rid of that dog. So you gotta get comfortable with the dog first. If she just so that's it. hmm Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I am done with them. I
Okay,
got
let's
nothing
go to
left
the
for
next
them.
person.
Who? Let's do Michaela and Zach. We'll
Oh
go
Lord.
to Michaela and Zach. I'll let you go first.
Oh, there's so much to unpack. There's so much. I noticed that what's his name? Zach. He drove back to Miami. He drove back to Houston because if he was still COVID at risk of having COVID, that they wanted to make sure that he wasn't on a flight. I noticed that this morning when I was like, huh. I see him in the car, but I didn't really pick up that he wasn't going to an airplane. So he drove back. He told her that he didn't that he still tested positive, and then he showed up and he surprised her. Um, I thought that whole scene was cute. I thought, why didn't he have paper over I mean, just the little things. He said, "Be careful. There's thorns in the flowers." I was like, "You didn't wrap the flowers around anything." I thought that was weird, but I thought they were sweet. I thought there was affection. Um, he shows his, you know, it wasn't more extra sensitive this time, but a lot of people were saying he showed his age. And Light said something that he's still in single man thought because um, one, that's okay. Now we're going back to dogs. Who puts their dog to bed? Like I don't get that. I don't know. And Tia's in the chat and a couple other people I hope are dog lovers. Listen, I put my dog, and y'all have heard my dog. You put her in the crate, you put the blanket over it. If she barks, put some music on. and you leave her and she goes to bed. I'm not gonna like, oh, I gotta lay down with the, unless the dog has more anxiety issues than a human. I don't understand you putting the dog to bed. She's not a baby. She's not a human. Put her in the crate or in another room and leave her alone. So him not coming to bed, I thought was strange, especially if this is the first night that they're back together after not being with your wife for like a week. Then he leaves, goes to take the dog to daycare, and he said that he went. He thought he was coming back in 2 hours, and the vicinity for my daycare for my dog is far away, so that 2 hours that made sense. But not texting or calling her to say this is what's going on, that was a surprise to me. And so watching Unfiltered, he said he did text her. Uh, or she texted him and he texted her right back, and then he said I went to daycare, and I guess there was a scene that was cut that said she told him don't wake me up, and she's not a morning person, she doesn't like to be woken up, so he didn't wake her up, takes the dog to daycare and comes back 2 hours later. One, I hope that's true. I hope he did text her, because if he didn't, he's wrong for that. He absolutely should have texted her. As Light said, you're still in single man thought. You were just moving and not thinking that she's in the bed, but you've been missing her all week, and you've been, you're married. You're a married man now. Her reaction, though, was it was scary, was crazy. Her reaction was, and I forgot all my banners. Her reaction was scary, and it was a contradiction. That's why I put hurricane contradiction and daddy issues, because they first sat down when they got the dogs together and everything. She said that I don't walk away. Walking away is emotional. What did she call it? She called it something, emotional manipulation or something. And she gets angry. She bangs the bottle of Lysol and something else on the counters and the napkins, and she packs up 3 bags and leaves. And she literally went from, he wasn't in bed with me last night, my man doesn't want me, my man doesn't love me, I'm done with this is over. In her head, in 60 seconds, it was over. And then the conversation with Pastor Cal, not only was that tit for tat, passive aggressive stuff, she left. They're finally sitting. The only reason I came back was to talk to Pastor Cal. And somebody else was saying that oh no, she was gonna come back, but to tell him so he could apologize. She was doing that to get back at him. And I said, that's even worse. That's even worse if you're doing that to get back at this man. And to me, his nonchalantness, if he didn't truly apologize, because to him, he didn't do anything wrong. But her reaction, no, nothing's wrong. And then saying, you really want to know what's wrong? And then go into it. I was like, oh, Michaela, like, this is all bad, because nobody's listening at this point. When both of you, he's remembered, he said, and she started cussing at him first too. And then they start cussing at each other, and the language, nobody's listening when you act like this. He doesn't even feel like he has to apologize, because you start cussing at him and you start talking to him like this. And so I was like, the whole thing was a lesson in relationships and interpersonal communication. And so then he's also very observant. I'm skipping some parts, and I'll let you fill them in, because he notices her body language. He noticed her eyes the frown of the brow. He noticed everything, and he's trying to get close to her. He's trying to say something, and then she's like, "I don't like the." Without saying it, she said, "I don't believe you." So he backs up and he stops talking. So the whole thing is they're not going to start. They're going to start not communicating. It's just all going to go to hell very quickly. Go ahead. We can talk more. Sorry.
You're fine. Um, yeah, I thought it was weird from the whole I just fell asleep with the dog. And that's it was weird because one, yes, I fell asleep on the couch or whatever, but I've never like just stayed there the whole night. Usually wake up 2, 3 in the morning and go, oh, let me go get in my bed. So that was weird too. So I don't know if he's still holding on to the fact of how she treated him when he had COVID. She wasn't very compassionate or any of that. And there was no insigness in health when he had COVID. So I don't know if he clocked that, but it seemed like he there's something I feel that he's not communicating with her about to why maybe he didn't want to sleep with her. But it's very weird to me to claim you fell asleep and then to just dart up in the morning and have to take the dog to doggy daycare. And that was 2 hours. I'm not trying to clock Zach, but that was 2 hours. It don't take 2 hours to drop the dog off. So what else? Like, so it seems like something else, like he needed his space, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was having a Johnny moment. Like he just needed like a break. I don't know.
No, again, I'm sorry to interrupt. The dog thing, I will agree with it. If he left at 7:15, he got back at 9:15. My dog place is 30 to 40 minutes away. And so I will give him that. It would take me about an hour and a half. So
Okay.
and I don't know where his is in Houston, but the place
Right.
I trust and I like that's going to take her for like till 10 o'clock at night is about 30 to 40 minutes away. So I gave him that, but everything before that, like I agree with you. Me, I'll get up 2 hours later and be like, where am I at? Let me get up, So I totally agree. Like, let me go on my own. Let me go and sleep with my wife. Like, why would you do
Mm-hmm.
that? So I totally agree with you on that point. But getting up in the dog place, yeah, it might, or he might have went to Starbucks and took the dog. So that I'm okay with. But every other stuff, I was like, Johnny. I mean, not Johnny. What's his name? Zach. No.
Yeah,
But
it just seems weird that there was no communication. I think she overreacted. Okay, you're upset, but you don't need to throw the paper towel on the ground. You don't need to grab all your IKEA bags and leave. It was just to the max. And yeah, I think she has this kind of tit for tat. Like she seems like one of those catty women. She can keep going and going and going for days, and men aren't like that. Men don't want to argue. So I think she might just be used to toxic love. She wanted to drag her bags out of there, and she wanted someone to come and stop her, pull her out the car and say, no, don't go. Because even the whole thing with Pastor Cal, when they're sitting there and then she starts cussing, and it's like, ladies, we got to set boundaries and keep them, because he was respectful to her. As soon as she started cussing, you saw that respect go down with Zach. So a man will only do what you allow him to do. That was my biggest issue with this episode, because now it's probably going to come up later. The way he treats me, blah, blah, blah. But he's going off of what you're doing to him. So, and he is showing his age in that, because I know a man that's more mature, that's more respectful, that wouldn't have changed him. But you kind of see Zach's age with that, where you gonna cuss at me, I'm gonna cuss at you too. And you cussing in front of Pastor Cal. How you cussing in front of the pastor? Like, his age showed in that scene. But like I said before, Michaela gonna take him on that roller coaster because she has a very toxic way of handling things, and I think she, because of how she's grown up, she thinks fighting is love. If he doesn't argue with me, if he doesn't go back and forth with me, if he doesn't run after me, he doesn't love me. And she needs to let that go
I
because
totally, yeah, I'm
men
sorry.
are not gonna sit there and play games with you like that.
I totally agree with the toxic love. I think that she was trying to do this, oh, I'm leaving, and start cussing at him. And then even though she said that she doesn't leave, she wanted him to fight for her. She wanted him to go search for her and stuff like that. And then when, excuse me, when they're in front of Pastor Cal, well, no, right before Pastor Cal rang the doorbell, he said, right now, I don't think we should talk about this. I'm kind of done talking about this right now because and he knew by the way she was cussing and talking to him, conversating with him, um, that they weren't going to get anywhere. And that even if he did, he wasn't going to apologize at that point. So he went to bring her close, and I'll be honest, yes, he was showing his age, not communicating with your wife. But to me, I don't think that she's ready to be married. I don't think. I think that she has prolonged grief. There is something called prolonged grief, uh, and dealing with her father's passing. It's
Right.
so sad, and I brought this up last night to Tia, that the fact that she said, "Well, he shouldn't take on that burden." And he's like, "Yes, I should. I'm your husband." And then Pastor Cal saying, "See, he's saying that he wants to take on that burden as your protector and as your security in your life, and you're literally pushing him back away." Like everything in her body language was that wall is a brick wall back up. I don't trust you. Her Everything in her face was, I'm like, nope. Even though he's saying this, I don't believe him. And I was like, it's only been 24 hours. You really haven't even really gotten to know. You haven't had the time that all the other couples have had. So even though he was wrong, he should have came back to bed. You wake up in the middle, but not, maybe he was so tired. He did drive back from Florida, so
Mhm.
maybe he didn't wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe his first wake up was 7 a.m. That wouldn't be me, but maybe he did. Maybe he was so. I've been so tired that I'm just like, oh my gosh, what time is it? So maybe that did happen. But
I
then,
mhm.
so I agreed with you that yeah, I would have just woken up in the middle of the night, like, where am I? Let me go in the other bed. But maybe he didn't. Maybe he was that tired. Okay, we'll give him
I
that.
really think like this all goes back to both of their motives for marriage were not in the right place. If you remember Zach, it was, well, everybody else is getting married or his clock is ticking. With Michaela, it was, I'm selling all these married people's houses. I want a husband. Their motives um we're in the right place for marriage. So I think that's playing out in itself because you're not in it for the right things. That's why your husband can get COVID and you can complain. That's
Right.
why you can storm out and grab bags because he supposedly didn't text you or wake you up, even though you said not to do that.
Yes, you
But
said don't wake me up no matter what. And
mhm,
then you get mad because he didn't wake you up. And then and then she's like, well, it doesn't take you, if you text me, you wouldn't have been waking me up. But to him, actually a text might wake me up because so I think that it was a miscommunication, and she literally contradicts herself. And I don't think that she sees what she does wrong. There's so many things. Yes, she did say that she was homeless at one point. I don't see her sisters letting her be homeless, but to her, it was homeless. Um, if she was homeless at one point, I think that there's so much. She's addicted to drama, and I have a good friend like this that needs the drama, that she doesn't think of it as love if it's not drama. And she doesn't think of it as love if they're not fighting, if they're not doing something, disagreeing or arguing, or if it's not a challenge to her, it's not love. If it's not passionate to her, that's what passion is to her. And that's going to be because that's not him. That's not him. He definitely is not the type of guy, like you said, to argue. And men are not like that. Like you said, a lot of men are not going to be that way. Um, Her crying about her father, it was really sad. It was really sad. And I feel bad for her. Um, but it just shows that she needs counseling. She needs more than what Zach can give her. Go ahead.
I agree. She definitely needs counseling, therapy, all of the above, marriage counseling, and her own individual counseling, because I think some of the baggage she's bringing in isn't Zach's fault, and it's not for him to try to build her up and help her come out of that. Like, she needs a professional. He's not going to be able to fix the things that she needs to be healed from. So yeah, I think she definitely needs counseling, and she's not to bring age into it, but he's not equipped to handle things like that, and I don't believe that that should be put on a partner to kind of handle that, you know?
Right. I agree. It's not gonna. He's not. He's not equipped to handle it. He's not equipped to all her roller coaster of emotions. And I wonder because Light said that she might be bipolar. I wonder that if she has a
Yes,
point there.
that's a good point, because bipolar, you have highs or low lows. There's no middle. There's no there's no levelness to that. And that's kind of what I saw when she's kind of reacting, when she's throwing the paper towels and then she's storming off, and then she would pass her couch and she's bawling. And yeah, it seems like there's no middle ground with her. Even when he's saying, I came back at 9:15. No, you didn't. No, use them. I'm like, girl, it's not necessary. Just say, I left at this time. I know that you did not come back at this time. It's as simple, like, but to go off and start cursing, and yes, yeah,
I think she came
there might be some type of imbalance there. It's
right.
yeah.
She came back before 9:15 from working out, and it wasn't even 9:15 yet. You had already packed your bags. You saw that there was no sign of him. She packed her bags and was gone before 9:15. He probably did show up, but she was like, "I'm done." And like you said, she reacts so quick that there would his head just spun. He was like, "Is that why you left?" Like he didn't even understand. And I get, like you said, his age does play a factor. Like, you don't even, did you check on her? Like, you didn't even realize that she was gone, or did you realize she was gone, but she hasn't talked to you in a day? Like, I
Mhm.
don't know the timeline, so I don't know if that was that morning and now they're back this evening or what, if that was the same day or that was the night before.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but it was very telling her reaction, and then what we're about to see in the next couple of weeks is Tia said Michaela is like a fire and Zach is like a fire, and Zach, due to his inexperience and immaturity, is like lighter fluid. Yep, they are a bad combination. Exactly. And to someone like that, if they don't react the way you want them to react, so if Zach like doesn't
That
give
part.
her
Mhm.
her feelings or her emotions the right light that she wants him to, it's going to be evidence to her that he doesn't care about me. But
And
that's not
she's gonna go
true.
harder and harder and harder, and he's just gonna get more turned off and turned off and turned off, because that's not what he's used to. He's not used to expressing love that way. He's that's not his kind of love. That's not
Mhm.
what he wants to do day to day. So he's just probably going to get more and more
Right.
turned
Yeah.
off.
And if he doesn't, go
Then
ahead.
what if they finally do go to counseling? She's going to be like, well, I tried, because she thinks this is trying.
You think she's doing everything, but to me, her when they came finally did come together, and he's like, "You all right? Yeah. You want to talk about it? No. Like you really want to know?" I was like, "Girl, this is exactly how you should not be acting." And the fact that if she reacts and she's like you said, just like a hurricane, like everybody's been calling her, and he's just going to sit back and he does not, and he leaves or he just doesn't want to put up with it, she's going to find it even just, she's going to get angrier and angrier. And uh, the separation that Pastor Cal was talking about, this the feeling of abandonment. She thinks that he's going to leave already. She already thinks, you know, to her, somebody has to over express their love to her. Somebody has to over the over affection for her to trust them, for trust and believe, to have belief in them. Hmm.
Okay, are you ready for Johnny in Bow?
I don't know.
I don't even know where to begin. All I want to say is when Johnny was reading her, like, you're too giddy, and they were showing all those moments of her acting like a kid, it was it was that I really think she thinks her giddiness is being feminine. So I think she was caught off guard when he said that's unattractive. So I think she, like, what's her name? What is it? Merla. Like the whiny, the complainy, the She thinks that's being vulnerable, feminine. I think that's what Bao thinks. I think she thinks I'm comfortable, I'm vulnerable, I'm letting my guard down. So it was funny to me, but at the same time, I kind of felt bad for Bao because I think I don't know what she's gonna do. Like, because like now I think she's gonna like go back into her shell, kind of, even though the shell wasn't really all the way gone, but I think she might clam up to this information and not really know what to do.
I agree. The whole thing was sad. It was just sad. Um, and I actually thought that they were going to talk to Pastor Cal about the showering or lack of showering, and they talked
That
about
really should have been brought up. That's
it.
because he looked like he holding his breath every scene, like he can't breathe around her. And I'm like, somebody needs to say it.
The fact, and I just again think that the lack of shower or the lack of cleanliness, to me, it's got to be a psychosis. It's got to be. It's more than just she's just nasty. So because she's literally digging her heels in. Somebody on our chat last night that said that she was she's it has to do with the trauma that she was either assaulted or something, and
Mm,
I said last week that she looks at showering as a chore. She looks at showering as something that she has to do. Like she doesn't look at it as um, cleanliness, or she doesn't look, she doesn't look at something as a good thing. So that's a very interesting take on it. I think that might be true, but I'm not sure. I don't know the woman, but at the same time, um, I really want to go back to all of the giddy things that all of the retakes. It really has to do about the intimacy. I
mm-hmm.
mentioned last week, this man's trying to go, and he has said from day one, I want to make out with my wife.
Yeah,
He goes to open his mouth and you start laughing. And I said, girl, even if you are,
that's killer.
yeah, and she kind of sucks the fun out of stuff. And that's what he said. Even if you want to get away from the cameras, wait till the cameras go off then. But don't just start laughing. It has to do with every time that they're either getting close or they're about having an emotional attachment to intimacy. So Tia said, Misha, that is such a good point. Bao thinks being giddy is being feminine. It's not. It now makes so much sense why they aren't connecting. Yeah, it's not. It's not feminine. It's not feminine.
Mhm.
That's a good point with Mirla. Remember, I'm in a mood. I'm moody in the morning. She thinks that little Paris Hilton act like from years ago, just be broody and you'll be feminine or it's not. It's not feminine. It's not attractive, and it's like look like a little kid. He wants a woman. He wants to make out with his wife. He wants those intimate
Mhm.
moments. um, Also, her contradiction is, I think that it was just so much. And I think we all agree that you shouldn't leave. I remember last year or last season with Bree. Bree was like, "You need a minute? That's another room over there. Stay your butt in here. We're married now, right?" This time, I was like, I think Johnny just I didn't know that he took a couple of days. I was like, I think you should have just taken 24 hours. It was just a lot for him.
It,
He
why did he look so? And he said it was like therapy being away from her. I was like, is she that bad? I think he was like,
Yes.
man, I can breathe now. I don't have to be around her. But to me, it was, I understand it. I need my alone time. So maybe he doesn't know how to communicate alone time, which can be in the other room, like you said. But for him to be walking through the door all smiley and chippy and like, I got Thai food. I was like, what is this dude so happy about? If I was Bao, that would have been my question. You've been away from me. You come back happy? Like what? Like what were
I
you
know.
doing?
It definitely
So
looked like they had a conversation beforehand. Like they either talked on the phone or
it looked like
something.
he just popped up. And if I was Bao, I would have been like, I'll eat later. I'm actually on my way somewhere. Even if I just went and sat in my car, I would have played like, no, you're not just gonna pop up when you feel like it and think I'm gonna sit down here and eat with you.
No, they had to. And she said the last time I talked about Johnny was this morning or the next or yesterday or something like that. So they have had a conversation. I said, there's no way that he just walked in and said, I got Thai food. They have had to, there's something on the cutting room floor
I hope
because,
so. I hope
oh,
they
because I
talk
was like,
before that.
I got Thai food. And I thought she said, I talked to him this morning or I talked to him yesterday because the way he walked in, I got Thai food I said, there's something cut. But, her saying, yeah, if you did want to leave, I would think that there was something definitely wrong. And I think that it really messed him up to say it. It really hurt his like, and he said the amount of arguments we've had in this short of time is alarming. So I get, and so in watching Unfiltered, he said that they had just had an argument about when they had first walked in the door, and she's like jumping around like a little kid, like a 5 year old in their new apartment. And that was a turnoff to him. That mixed with the not showering, that mixed with the frustrations with not wanting to actually relax and have a good time with his wife, that mixed with just all of the different things. I think his mind was just all over the place and he needed a minute to go away. At least he spoke to her about it. They had dinner, and he said, after this, I'm going to go home. I don't think that he should have taken a couple of days, maybe just, excuse me, one day. But that was a lot for him to handle. And I think and also because I think he genuinely likes her. Because he wouldn't have done that thing on the beach if
Mhm.
he didn't and then I feel like they did that thing on the beach and with the roses and all the whole thing, and then he's hit with I don't shower and I don't do this and I don't like this, and he's like she kind of sucks the fun out of it. They walked into the place. Oh, this range doesn't go anywhere. Oh, I don't really like electric. Oh, and she's critiquing everything. And that's
Mhm.
the same thing with what's his name, Gil. He's like, just come into the apartment and just relax. That's why he's like, stop, don't complain about everything. Let's just relax. Don't it's stop sucking the fun out of everything. So I think that that's what he's thinking. Um, I do think I don't know who said it in the chat. You responded that she thinks that the bidet is kind of a substitute for washing, and it really isn't. And it's not. Well, we
No,
know that. We know that. I'm like, it really
it's
isn't.
not.
It's not. But the way she's like, and you can wash and you can do that. I was like, oh, sweetie, stop.
She
Um,
really thinks that's her version of the whole bath, probably.
of the OBAF. No, I think that she is wiping off with the wet ones. Um, it was that part. Oh, I Johnny's apartment was very telling. Again, masculine. He's a minimalist. He's waiting for his significant other. It was very apparent
Mhm.
that he wanted the his significant other to be there with him to liven it up. Whereas Jose was just like, I'm just gonna dress it so this is my house. And when she comes in, she can change everything, but I'm gonna have 16 shades of brown, just like Ryan's house. Um, I think that she's quirky, and I think that she's quirky, but she's taken quirky to an nth degree. Um, a lot of people are thinking that it's a lot that Johnny is the issue, and yes, he should not have left for several days. But I think that he's any other person, he would have been gone. Like he's not, he really wants. I think it's because he does
Yeah.
genuinely like her. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot.
No, I think like the break, here's the thing, the break isn't a bad thing, but when you have a history of running and ghosting and that type of thing, where there's something you don't like and you run. So I just feel like this is the smoke before the storm. I think he kind of took this break, like, okay, I think he thinks like, oh, I need to regroup or whatever, but I think the next time he might just actually leave and not come back. And that's my thing with Johnny. It's one thing to get your time to yourself, but to kind of rely on this and like on these breaks. And yeah, I think he's kind of working his way up to just leaving for good because old old habits die hard. He has a habit of going on over 100 dates and finding something wrong and leaving. So, and Bao is just one thing after another. Every single scene, the snoring, the the baiting, like whatever it may be, it's like she's had so many moments of killing the buzz and just bringing down these happy moments. It's like, yeah.
And also, she's clocking things like when he was looking through her place, he said, "Oh, I can imagine me here with my friends, and we're watching the game, and you're in the kitchen." And she's like, "The game, mm, okay." Like I'm like, "Wow, you don't take showers. Like you can't get upset for him like to like sports. You just relax." And she's clocking things that she may possibly not like. It's all in her head, and she is this buzzkill. And I think that she is still this college girl. She's like, I was this lonely college girl, and you ghosted me, and I'm like, stop bringing that up. It was 10 years ago. I don't know why you keep bringing. It's actually kind of sad that she keeps bringing it up because it really makes her sound. And even when, speaking of the kid thing, even when he said it, you could see he was so upset. everybody's saying how horrible for him to do that, how horrible for him to say that he insulted her, all of these things. But it felt like something was crawling over his body to say it. He did not want to. The look on her face, her pouting when he said that, I was like, oh gosh, you literally just did exactly what he doesn't like you doing. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. I was like, really? It's like you're doing, like, maybe it's a natural thing for her to do, but it was like you're doing what he doesn't like. And it was such an ugly face. I was like, bro, please don't do that again.
Do you think that she is just shocked and surprised that somebody doesn't like her? Like that somebody, like,
No, I think
that me?
I think she's has her insecurities. Like, I think she expects the opposite. So even I think that's why even when she told him, I appreciate your assertiveness. So I think she so I don't think she expects people to like her. I don't think she expects him to like her. I think even sometimes, like, I forget who it was that mentioned the three sides of her. It seems like there's that side of her where she's always got her head down and she's like talking low, and it seems like she seems very insecure. So I don't think she expects him to like her.
I do, and that's what I said in the beginning. But then I just, when I asked the question, I really meant to talk about she had this list that she's insisting on. I need this. I don't want, I have, she had a list of men that she didn't want them to pair her with. She had a list of things that she insisted he have, these character traits. So, what would make you think that maybe he might have a list or maybe he might have things in his head that he may not like as well? Um, but you're right that she is literally having these insecurities are like blaring. Her the snoring, and it's so funny on the plane. I know I was like they enhanced that, like her snoring, he did record it, and we know that she doesn't like that, but the production actually enhanced the sound. I could tell. I was like, oh god, you guys still are horrible. But the snoring, and you could tell he was joking, so he makes fun of it, and then it's just everything compounded. I think that she has almost body dysmorphia, like that she thinks she's so
Wow.
horribly ugly, you know what I mean? Or she thinks that
Mhm.
her hips are big, like walking around in a bathing suit in your house, but not going to a pool. You know what I'm saying? Um, she used to
Mhm.
like the way she looked in bathing suit. I said, sweetheart, you have zero fat, like seriously, sweetheart. And but in her head, when she looks in the mirror, she sees somebody different. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't think of her as attractive, and she doesn't think that she's worth the shower. She has issues with self-worth.
Mhm.
Well, I actually agree. The three characters. She has the kid character. She does also. She's very analytical, very intelligent, um, and but she does not have the feminine character though. She does not know how
Right.
to touch that touch that character,
Mhm.
channel her femininity yet. So Tia was saying that, and she said this earlier, that the bidet. But if she thinks the bidet is bathing, doesn't that mean that depression or something, or that depression or some other mental condition isn't the reason she doesn't shower?
Yeah, it's
I do have
definitely she's definitely showing signs of it for sure.
definitely showing signs of something, even if it's not. And I know that last night Light said it was some type of trauma, but some type of trauma, like somebody that's been assaulted or something that leads to depression.
Mhm.
Um, it might be like body dysmorphia. Like she doesn't look at herself as attractive. She doesn't see the real person in the mirror. I don't know. I don't know, but I just
I
think there's got to be something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say maybe her iron is low. I'm being stupid, but my doctor told me that because she was like, "Do you know you're anemic? Your iron's very low. Like it makes you tired, and it offsets depression and anxiety." So I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." She was like, "Yeah," and but it made me think of that. But maybe
No,
it's
you have a good point. That's true. I'm anemic too.
I don't yeah. It could be, and there's probably many other things like in your body that you're deficient on that are triggering other things. So it really could be anything. And the fact that, I don't know, maybe she has got it checked out, maybe she has went to someone, but the fact that she's not, it doesn't seem like she's dealing with it. It's just, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
And so that's, yeah.
I agree. I think it might be something like that. And I think that she's probably not going to the doctor and not actually having a conversation with somebody. And she, like a psychologist, can subscribe medication that you don't get addicted to.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is something, but there's got to be something else there because it's not just the showering or lack of showering. It's just everything. It was just, there's just so many things. This is the first time I was like, I get it, Johnny. You need 5 minutes away. But a lot of people are like, Johnny shouldn't have left. He's been wanting to leave for the longest time. I don't think so. I think he's wanted to stay. I think that he's been excited until
Yeah, I think that's why he's being so assertive because if he really didn't want to stay, didn't want to be there, he wouldn't have said nothing and would have just eventually disappeared and been out. But I think the fact that he's communicating with her and she's just ignoring it, like she's accepting it in the moment, saying, "I'm glad you told me that. I'm glad you said that," but then she doesn't change.
I think I think this is going to change him and it's breaking his spirit. And when I say that, like he has no reason not to want to get in the bed. But you saw the last scene. He's like, "Are you going to sleep in here? Or are you going to sleep in there?" Now he's almost becoming her, and she's like, "Oh, I get it. You're asking me, do you want to share the bed?" And he's like, "Yes." I said, "That was her question a week ago," and I said, "He's is breaking
Now
his
you're like,
spirit."
you take your stinky butt on.
Right. Mm-mm. I think that she thinks that if she uses the bidet, that is cleaning her. Because as women, our genitalia is on the inside. You need to take a shower. So I think that she thinks that she uses the bidet. That's all she needs. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
I
want to
think
talk
so
about it
too.
anymore.
I think so too, but no, you still need to get your butt in the shower. And I think it's like she said, I'm lazy. And I think that's her lazy way of showering or showering. Shower,
Showering.
shower,
Of using the shower.
showering.
I think
But I think that's her like lazy way of trying to take the shortcut. But no, it's no.
it's got to be. It's yeah. I think it's that. I think that the vitamins. I think your doctor has a point because I'm anemic too, and yeah, I got to take my iron. I got to, those things.
Mhm.
It's important, but I think there is some type of psychosis there. I think it's just sad. It's just sad because I'm like, Johnny's a really good guy, but this is really bringing out the bad side of him.
Mhm. And
Yep.
that's what he was saying in the previews. Like, he said something like, I messed up, so I'm messing her up, or something. Like, I feel like he thinks, like, because he's being honest or letting her know the stuff that he doesn't like, that he's messing her up or something like that. But
Mm-mm.
what is he supposed to do? And I didn't like Pastor Cal's response with kind of like deal with it in like there was like I didn't feel like there was really an alternative or resolution he was giving, and you can see Johnny's face like, what? I just told you that this is something that's turning me off. Like, he can't change the fact that that's a turn off for him.
What did he say? He said, "You get giddy too." Tia, if you remember, what did he say? He was like, "Well, you be giddy too. You know, she likes to act like a kid. That's okay for her." And I think Pastor Cal was trying to ease it a little bit because that was really rough to hear. So I think he was trying to like.
Johnny was impersonating her too. They were showing them clips, and Johnny was like, when I kiss you and you hold your head like this, and
Okay, kiss me. Okay, kiss please. I'm like, girl, this man wants to be passionate, and you're like a little 5-year-old. I was like, I think that she thinks the baby talk is cute, and it's not. And I think it was last night, somebody said, "Oh wait, baby talk's not cute. I've been doing that to my husband all the time." And I said, "That's not cute." No, and
maybe
I said,
there are people who like that, but other people, it's a turn off.
And I think in the movies, like or something, like people thought it was like a cute thing, but it's not cute. It's not. It's not sexy. He wants a sexy wife, and yeah,
Child.
child. Oh yeah, I definitely think she's camera shy. I definitely think but at the same time, I don't, and I hate saying, "Well, you signed up for this." I don't know. I think that she's camera shy when it comes to intimacy.
I don't know. I will say that whenever he's honest with her, she gets that conservative Asian woman tone. So it seems like it almost feel like maybe she's embarrassed but not trying to show it. Like she's trying to mask that like what he's saying is possibly hurting her in a sense. But I
So I want to go with something Cindy said because I thought about this today, and like I said, I'm glad I watched this over again. When Brianna did it, it was only once in a while. When Brianna did it when he brought the bike, and we know that she does it because during the wedding, they said when she gets excited, she goes like that. But it's not like it was a constant.
But Brianna did it to get her way. That's what I kind of felt. She would do it a lot to get her way. With Bao, I don't know. It just seems like it's these random spurts of energy, and she doesn't know like where to put it. I don't know.
Well, when Brianna did, he brought her the bike when she was happy, or yeah, it's a giddy thing like Bao, but it was in a different way. It definitely wasn't during sex, or it definitely wasn't during when I'm trying to kiss you. Like you know, yeah, she was not. So, and I think that's the difference. Is in times of intimacy when you do this, when we're trying to get into a hammock together. Getting into a hammock is a kind of a difficult thing. That thing that's going to be connection and closeness, and you do this like, oh, connect with me. Like Rihanna didn't do it when they were trying to have sex. So, and I think that's the point.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
I think that's it. I'm interested to see this season because yeah, Hurricane K is coming. More from Johnny and Bao. This doesn't look good, and we were really rooting for them. We were rooting for you.
Right.
So go ahead. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna have more shows in September coming up, and then myself, Misha, and Kia Simone will be teaming up to do a really great show coming up for you guys. And so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for CMK After Dark. That is going to be a lot of fun. We got some interactive stuff for you guys coming. That's it. Subscribe to both of our channels. Subscribe to Crystal Annette on YouTube and Misha Allen on YouTube. And Misha, you got the last word.
And we will be going live tomorrow, like right after not Ready Love, put a ring on it. right after the reunion airs, because there's supposed to be so much tea spilt in this reunion. So we will be going live tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come in, join us, let us know what you think about this reunion. But yes, as always, subscribe, like, and thank you guys so much for tuning in and keeping the chat going. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.